what are five technologies that you would recommend to learn in 2025?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And in fact, I also think about it not just in 2025, rather every year.
You're now listening to Gradually Speaking. From Flipkart to Interac, today's guest knows how to build systems that scale. An IIT graduate with global experience. He's all about purpose driven tech and clean, impactful code. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Divyanshu Singh.
Thank you, Vansh, for having me. It's a pleasure.
Good. Yeah. So let's just start at the beginning of your journey. Why did you pick engineering and why? Just, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that in childhood, everyone gets influenced by someone or other. I personally got influenced by business people, and I always wanted to be a business person. So I had that thought from the very beginning. And in my childhood, I got inspired a lot by Bill Gates because he was the richest person at that time. And I realized that software industry is something where you can build a business from scratch and from thin air. So engineering as such interested me a lot because of the software being so impactful in the world.
Absolutely. And I know, like, so you come from India, and there's a different procedure if uh, if a person wants to pursue engineering, there's a specific procedure that they need to follow. They have to give a series of exams known as JE. So how, and they are one of the most difficult exams in the whole world. So how is that for you? How did you deal with the pressure? And more importantly, how did you stay focused during that time?
Yeah, something that helped me during JE actually helped me throughout my life in every stages. For example, being it be it IELTS, be it GMAT, be it any interview, anything, even marketing meetings. So, what helped me a lot were five basic things. First was preparation for sure, and second was discipline, and then mock tests, and feedback, and finally mentorship or networking. So I'll go through some of them. For example, preparation is an obvious thing. So I feel that many people don't want to prepare for what they want to achieve. So preparation is the most fundamental thing. If you don't prepare for it, you are bound to get surprises at the last moment. Second is discipline. So by discipline, I mean stay disciplined to what you do. For example, even if you take example of some athlete, they even though going to gym is not part of their actual work, but they still spend time doing workout because they want to maintain that discipline. They want to fine tune their body. So similarly, discipline is basically doing same thing in a particular way every single day, and so that it takes you to your target. For example, I can give you an example from my ITJ preparation itself. Uh, there are around 20 chapters in each of the subjects: physics, chemistry, maths, and no one can actually revise them on the last day, a few days before examination. So I made a plan at that time that I took a planner and planned the last 60 days for revision only, and revised one chapter each day. And that actually helped me to actually cover up everything before the examination, because otherwise I could not have done that. So that kind of discipline actually helps. And this thing that I need to plan in this way actually came from the feedback from previous mock tests that I had given. That during those mock tests, I realized that revising everything on the last day is not possible. So I came up with this plan. So that's where feedback comes into picture, and mock tests also come into picture. So do as many mock tests as possible, because then you'll get the feedback to be better every time. And finally, about networking and mentorship. So Meeting right people and speaking to right people is very important. I mean right people. By right people, I mean those who have gone through the same thing and those who have excelled in it, not those who have failed in it, because those two perspectives will be quite different. And talking to right people will make a huge difference. So that's my 2 cents.
I understand. I understand. So just a follow-up question on that. You were talking about people who have excelled and some people who just let's just say who have not excelled. So I know that perspective differs, but in my experience, I believe the people who have not excelled would also give you good advice about the things you should not do.
Yeah, I have a point on that, and I actually listen to many people like Sam Altman, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, and I learned a lot from them. So I learned one thing from Sam Altman, who is the OpenAI CEO. So he, in one of his interviews, he said a good thing that if you are in business, if you will fail on the first day, it doesn't mean that you will fail throughout your life. I mean, if you stay in business for a while, you will definitely succeed. So when you talk about someone who failed and actually failed, don't have any perspective which is worth your time. Because if the person stayed in business for a long enough time, he would have succeeded for sure. So uh, I don't mean temporal failure. I mean eventual failure or eventual success. So talking to people who are eventually successful will give you an altogether different perspective from talking to people who have eventually failed, because failure doesn't happen until you give up.
Absolutely.
Even Elon Musk failed in his initial pursuit for SpaceX vehicles, but later the team improved on it and they eventually succeeded. So that's the difference.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. I agree. So you use these tips, you excelled in JEE, you got into IIT, right? Now that you're in IIT, I know so many people sorry, I apologize. So many people give the JEE exam and just the top few people get into IIT. What's next for you? Like what skills are you learning apart from your curriculum? So it has one of the best curriculums in the whole world, I would say. But what skills are you learning apart from your education that helped you in your career?
Yeah, I would say education is very temporal thing. For example, technology changes every few months in software industry. So if you learn something now, that will be obsolete by next year. So technology is not something that you learned at an educational institution. You actually learn the first principles, because first principles don't change. Uh, the way you start a business doesn't change. The way you build a product doesn't change. So the fundamentals, the foundation principles, they don't change. So my goal was always to learn the foundational pieces and not bother too much about the high abstraction. So I would highly recommend to focus on first principles because they will stay forever, though the high level abstraction will change every few months. Secondly, I would say that being at any institution like IIT, the most important thing is camaraderie that you develop with the fellow alumni, fellow classmates. The biggest takeaway for IIT from IIT for me is the alumni network, and it helps me. It has helped me throughout my life, irrespective of what the pursuit was. For example, when I was looking for a new job, I got referrals from all my IIT alumni only. And when I started my business, I got all my prospective customer meetings through IIT alumni initially. So, irrespective of what domain it is, you get a lot of help from your alumni network. So, building that network of yourself is very important. And thirdly, at IIT, I got an opportunity to participate in many extracurricular activities, and they really helped me in terms of developing my networking skills, developing my interpersonal skills, and also in picking something from scratch and taking it to success. So that's a great opportunity, and everyone in university should uh, take advantage of that opportunity.
Right. So, could you go more into detail in the type of extracurricular activities that you participated in IIT?
Yeah, unfortunately, in the first year of my undergrad, I had jaundice, hepatitis B, which actually took away a few months from my curriculum. So I had to take bed rest for 2 3 months. So I couldn't get involved in many extracurricular activities in the first year itself. So they were, and in general, in second year, they usually don't take people who into the student clubs. They don't take people who haven't been in that student club in the previous year. So I had very little choice to get into any student club. So I thought of starting my own student club. So I started a magazine called Geek Gazette, which was the first technical magazine of the institute. The institute already had uh, uh, literary magazines in both English and Hindi, but it didn't have any technical magazine. And so I thought that it's a great opportunity to start a technical magazine, and that was perhaps the first entrepreneurial experience that I had in my life. So I grouped together people from different magazines who had retired from those magazines, and created my own team of 50 people, and we started the technical magazine, which is still running after so many years. And so this was one engagement that I had. Another engagement was related to intellectual property rights cell. So intellectual property, which is like copyright, patent, etc., which is very important in engineering domain, because you end up doing some new invention or innovation which needs to be protected. So there was a department within the institution which used to educate people about these rights. So I got involved in that department, and it was great to learn, I mean, how to protect your innovation, and it helped me a lot in that. Yeah, those were the two major things that I got involved in.
Yes, yes, that's amazing because that's actually valuable skills that you would need apart from obviously your technical skills that you learn in your education and through your courses. So after this is done, after you're graduated as you have that IIT badge on you, what does the job market look like? And basically, what was your view of like the future after getting your degree?
Yeah, my childhood dream was always to start my own business. So, but I think I personally believe that your long term goal is one thing, but you need to pave your path through your short term goals. So, I thought that I would do things which will take me up to my long term goal. So, the first thing that I thought was basically to understand the industry that I was getting into. So, I was sure that I was getting into software industry, so I wanted to understand the industry. So with that in mind, I joined Oracle as a software developer, and Oracle was mostly focused in B2B business. So I got to learn a lot about the B2B software industry, how it works, how team gets managed within a company, and that knowledge was very helpful in understanding the industry and particular niche of the industry. And then I moved on to Flipkart, which was totally opposite. It was B2C industry. It was in B2C industry. And then I got to learn about how the B2C software industry works. So the two experiences combined gave me an overall view of the whole software industry. And at that moment, I felt confident enough that I can start my own business because I know the industry quite well. And by that time, I had developed sufficient software development skills to create my own product. So I thought that is the right time because I have both the technical skills and knowledge of the industry to get started. So I thought that's the right time. So that's how the whole process went for me.
Right. And in between Flipkart and Oracle, which one of these two experiences was the most memorable for you?
Between Flipkart and Oracle, which were more memorable? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say I had memorable times at both the places, and the most memorable thing that I did in common at both the places was developing myself. For example, when I was transitioning from Oracle to Flipkart, I actually wanted to excel in the interview process. So I prepared for that for around 6 months, and I learned the whole technology which was being asked in interview at that time. And I prepared for the interviews for around 6 months, took a lot of mock interviews, had a lot of feedback, mentoring, and everything. And that was the best time that I had at Oracle because I learned something which stayed with me throughout my life. And similarly, when I was at Flipkart, the next goal for me was to start my own company. So I used to network with everyone around my in my floor on my floor, and learn from them what all technologies they knew and what could help me in my business. So, and I learned from them that I got the references for those technologies from the people on floor. And I used those references to train myself, and that helped me a lot. So that period of training myself at both places actually helped me and is most memorable because it gave a lifetime value, and it and the process of doing that stays with me forever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And also, did you have opportunities to grow at Oracle and develop new skills? I believe you mentioned something about developing new skills. You used to talk to your co-workers about what they know, and you guys kind of used to trade information. But apart from this, did the company provide you with resources to grow?
Yeah, now I've noticed one good thing about big companies, especially corporations, because I've worked mostly in big companies. So I've noticed one good thing there that they have huge teams. I mean, there is redundancy within the team. For example, a work, if it can be done by two people, then they would have five people to do the same work. So this actually gives you a lot of headspace to grow, and because there are so many people, so there are many opportunities for growth as well. And uh, and also, in those companies, managers actually try to create opportunities for people to grow. For example, my manager used to give me projects which would need me to work independently, work hard, and that would pave my path to the next role. So I believe big companies usually have two great things, which is one is large teams, so there's ample opportunity for growth for everyone. No one is stepping on growth of other person. And secondly, even the people leaders create opportunities for their reportees to grow.
Right. And Flipkart. Flipkart is one of the biggest companies in India, right? And honestly, it's every software engineer's dream who's pursuing software engineering in India. So how was it like working at Flipkart, and how did you basically get this role?
Five things that I talked about in excelling any exam actually helped me throughout my life in every exam actually. So when I was transitioning from Oracle to Flipkart, networking helped me a lot. For example, I would get referral from anyone who is also living at the same time. So they would refer me in the new company that they were joining. So, and also I got a lot of referrals from alumni network of IIT. So that helped me a lot to schedule a lot of interviews. And all these referrals helped me to schedule a lot of interviews, and I learned by from the feedback of each interview, and that eventually helped me to polish myself enough to be a good candidate at Flipkart during interview, and that got me through the interview process. And within Flipkart, one good thing that I realized, which was missing in Oracle, was at Oracle, because it is backend software kind of it was backend software kind of product. So I usually had just backend knowledge. But when I joined Flipkart, the whole floor actually had people from various teams. For example, there were product managers, there were front end developers. So I could easily network with all of them, and that helped me not just learn about day-to-day operations and how different teams work together to deliver uh, expectations on a daily basis, but also helps me to network and learn about how to develop myself further, how to develop my personal skills, how to develop my technical skills. So I would suggest having a mix of people around you is better than having similar-minded people around you, because if you have the mix, you not only learn how to run the daily operations together, but you also develop yourself personally.
That's it. Yes, so you have given, I believe you have given a lot of job interviews. So I would just like to ask you, what are some experiences that you like to talk about in your job interviews to kind of show the employer like your skill set, and how do you, is there a certain model, like are you aware of the star model?
Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Yes, so those are some models to kind of frame your sentences and frame your answers. So are any tips that you can share with us, that would be great as well.
Yeah. So in software industry, interviews work a little differently from other job interviews. So there is not much focus on behavioral part, and it's mostly the focus is mostly on technical part. And for technical part, I would say having the fundamentals clear is most important, because if you develop your knowledge on basis of solving, let's say, 1,000 questions, then if you face the 1,001 question, which is different from those 1,000 questions, then most likely you won't be able to solve that question. But if you have your fundamentals clear, and that those fundamentals can be applied to any question, so even if you practice just 10 questions, you can solve the 1,001 question that comes to you. So I would say focus more on getting your fundamentals clear than doing a lot of mock questions, because fundamentals take you a long way. And secondly, in technical interviews, there are multiple rounds of interviews, and mostly all of the rounds are based on technical interviews only. Only the last interview, usually, which is with the hiring manager, actually talks about the different projects that you have done and how you contributed to your organization. So I think for the last interview round, which is with the hiring manager, it's important to highlight your contributions to your previous organization in a star model for sure. But in all the previous interviews, it's good to be it's important to be technically sound. And in technical interviews, one thing is very important, that even if you don't give the final right answer, uh, just think aloud, speak out whatever you have in mind, because people judge not on your final answer, they actually judge you on the thought process as well. So it's very important to speak up whatever you are thinking in your brain, and also ask questions whenever it comes, so whenever you have a question in your mind. And one more key insight that I got is when you have your interview, and interviewer gives you an opportunity to ask a question to the person, then don't waste that opportunity by saying that I don't have any question. Rather, ask something which is not available on internet. Most likely, ask something which is more related to their experience with the organization, because that shows that you are interested in the organization. So if you'll ask something which is already available on website, then they'll say you that just go on website and search for this. And if you don't ask anything, that will give a negative impression that you're not interested in the organization. So ask something which is related to their experience with the organization, because that's something which is not available on any website, and that also shows that you are interested in the organization.
What are some good questions that you have asked during that time? So when the hiring manager asks you if you have any questions, what are some questions you have asked that have that are good?
Yeah. So no, I would say there are two categories of such questions. One can be factual and one can be very subjective question. So when I go for factual question, then what I do is basically I'll do homework about reading their website and learning about different things that they have, and finding some blind spot there. For example, if you see that some information is not matching at two different places, then keep an eye on those information, and that's a great candidate to ask the interviewer about. Uh, and that shows that you have done your homework well. That's the factual category. And when I talk about subjective category, then the very easy question and very obvious question can be, how has been your experience with uh, now you put in the adjective for that company. For example, if I'm going to interview for Interac, I would say working for a household name in payment industry. So asking about the personal experience enables the interviewer to talk more about something. But if you instead ask for some very factual question that interviewer himself doesn't know, then he will have a sorry face for you. So it's better to ask a question which interviewer can answer in a lot more detail than rather than pointing you to a website.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. That was very good insight. Thank you so much. Now, so you worked at Oracle, you worked at Flipkart, right? Now you feel like you have developed enough skills to start your own business, right? How was that transition like? And how was it like starting your own business in 2015?
Yeah. So, working at any software company, you actually work on a particular product and you work on a part of the product because you are part of the big company, big team. So, you don't get exposure to everything usually. For example, at Oracle and Flipkart, I used to work on a very small part of their product and never got exposure to the whole product. So, when you are building your company, the very first thing that strikes you is basically to create the whole product on your own, because creating a big team is next to impossible in initial stage. So you have to work on everything on your own if you want to pursue that dream. Otherwise, it's always going to be a dream only. So the first thing that strikes you is basically how to create the whole product, and that may take some time. And to do a business, the fundamental thing that is there, I believe, is if you can create a product and sell the product, that's what business is. So if you know how to create and if you know how to sell, then you are done. Then you are good at business. So it took me some time to create the product, and then I went on to sell the product. And then I realized that the product that I was building at the first place was not didn't have sufficient market demand. So what I would say is do the both together so that you have feedback loop throughout your process. Uh, so that's where agile comes into picture. All software companies these days are following agile practice, which means that you develop and deliver at the same time so that you can pivot as soon as possible. So that's a hard learned lesson that I learned by doing by having my first failure in my startup. And then I realized this failure, and going forward in the second startup that I started just after the failure, I incorporated this feedback, and I didn't create the whole product at the first place. I rather created a demo product. So and I scheduled a lot of meeting with prospective customers, all through networking and reaching out uh, fearlessly to different people. And in all those marketing meetings, I used to record those meetings and review those recordings after the meeting to see where we missed the customer, what all things were demanded by the customers that our product didn't do. And that way, I incorporated all those missing things in my product. And after a bunch of interviews, after a bunch of marketing meetings, I realized that every customer needed the same thing, the same set of things, not exactly one thing, but set of things. So I got a comprehensive set of things that customer wanted, and then I incorporated all of them into my product. And in the next meetings, it was all very easy because we already had all those features that a customer would want. So this whole journey taught me how to create a startup from scratch. And one good insight that I got was, typically, if you are doing a service business, then your first customer won't be someone who would give you a project just because you are most technically superior person or superior company, but it's mostly to promote you. I mean, in everyone's career, there is a phase in life when you don't do the work yourself. You rather enable others to do work, so that they can be next generation of leaders. So your first customer will most likely be the person who is giving you project not only on basis of your talent, but in order to promote you to be the next line of leader. So it's important to realize that this can most likely happen in your life too. That the first project that you get is not solely on basis of talent, but because the person is old enough and matured enough to give you the opportunity to become the next leader. And you should take this opportunity to and perform well in this opportunity to initiate a chain reaction of projects. So by that I mean, once you get one project, then you can encash that project in reaching out to other prospective customers. And that way, once they know that you have already delivered to the previous customer, you have more credibility compared to when you have delivered nothing before. So that initiates a chain reaction. Was one customer leads to another customer leads to another customer, and so the biggest trouble is getting the first project. After that, it's much easier.
Absolutely. And it's honestly very courageous to me that you are even comfortable talking about your startup, even though it failed the first time. So I was just wondering, you talked about what you took away from that experience, but I just wanted to ask you, where did you get that mindset from, that you should never give up and you should keep working and keep working even though you don't see results?
So again, I would say mentorship or networking helped me a lot in that. And I would like to highlight at this point that mentorship doesn't actually mean one-on-one mentorship or interactive mentorship. So uh, if I talk about the time when there was no YouTube, like let's say around 2000 or 1990s, then hearing from someone like Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates was a very, very unique opportunity. You could hear them only when you were present in person for a conference in which they were speaking. But now, after the YouTube came and became so popular, so you can listen to anyone, anywhere, anytime you want, because all their interviews are recorded. So that's a very good opportunity, and everyone of us who is aspiring to be like them should be taking advantage of that. And when you hear to their interviews in YouTube, by them I mean those who you look up to, those you aspire to be. For example, in my case, since I wanted to be an entrepreneur, so I would listen to Elon Musk, Jack Ma, Jensen Huang, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and many others. So they actually tell you the not just about the latest trend in the industry. They definitely talk about the latest trend because they are the one who are shaping the game. And they also tell you about their own process. And when you learn about their process, then you see, okay, they also failed at first, and then they learned from it and moved ahead and did well. So that gives you the courage, the motivation, the spirit to perform well and improve yourself, and don't give up actually. So so many of them actually learning from many of those great people actually helped me to uh, keep going on and gave me courage to be a successful entrepreneur after a failure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so let's just summarize this experience by asking you this. I'm going to help you summarize this experience by asking you this question. So, what are three key tips that you would give an engineer like you who wants to build their own business?
Yeah, the top three tips that I would give is, first of all, listen to right people, as I said earlier as well. So listen to people who have succeeded in what you are doing. So in case of entrepreneurship, it would be people who have created big companies such as Jack Ma, Elon Musk, Jensen Huang, Bill Gates, many of them, Jeff Bezos. So listening to them will give you knowledge about how to create a company and how to create a big one. For example, in one of the interviews of Jeff Bezos, I learned a great thing that to build a big business, you need just three steps. Um, First, have a great idea. Second, be ruthless about execution. And third, create the next line of leaders. So they share these thoughts in all their interviews. So that's most helpful thing. Secondly, never reinvent the wheel. Yeah. So if a technology or a business theory is proven and existing for a long time, don't try to reinvent that. Rather, leverage that and build things on top of it. So that's how case studies are also done in business schools. I mean, you learn from mistakes of others and not repeat the mistake yourself. The third tip would be every business has a core strength. For example, if you're a software company, then most likely your core strength is the software that you are building. So have the core strength within your founding team, and do not outsource it, and do not delegate it totally to your other team members. Have the core strength within your founding team, because there will be times when you lose everyone else, and you need to rely totally on your founding team to proceed further, because there will always be ups and downs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so after this, after trying to start a business, doing the startup, now you have thought about doing an MBA abroad. I want to know more about your thought process and why did you specifically pick Canada?
Yeah. So very early in my life, when I used to think about doing a business, then I used to think that I would specialize in something, do PhD, and my role will be just R&D in the company. But sooner I realized that that's not going to happen. If you want to start your own company, then you need to do everything initially on your own, because initially you are on your own. So, and that I learned from other people as well. As I said, networking is very important. So when I network with other entrepreneurs who started their business, so in initial days, everyone is on their own. So that gave me an idea that shaping only my technical skills won't take me far. And that's when I realized that doing learning business academically together with technology can be a good combination. And I saw one interview of Elon Musk also, in which he said that because he did a degree in commerce and a degree in technology, it actually helped him in going hand in hand with both technology and business, and he could learn how to create a product and how to sell that. So that was my primary inspiration that led me to think about doing business education. And secondly, while doing business, I realized that I made a few mistakes which I could have avoided if I learned the theory of business. So I felt that though I reinvented the theories of business by doing them and learning from the mistakes, I realized that if I could have learned the theory of business, then I would have done better and would have leveraged on the learnings of others. So that's the another thing that inspired me to think of MBA as a enhancer of my skill. And also, I realized that since I had already run my business for a while before doing MBA, it helped me relate what I used to do on ground with what the theory is, and how I could do better at first place. So that correlation, that ability to correlate, is amazing thing. So I would say that for anyone thinking of pursuing an MBA degree, one should actually be able to correlate it with the actual experience. For if you are an entrepreneur, then I would say start a company first, then decide whether you need a business degree or not. You may not even require that if you end up doing the business of your dream. I had an admission offer from ISB also, which is a very reputed business school in India. But I chose to come to Canada because I wanted to expand my market for my business. So I was dealing only with Indian customers at the moment, but then I wanted to move out and have customers in America as well as Europe. And I found Canada as a good center point to reach out to them. And it's very important in business to be geographically located near your customers, because you need to have very frequent discussions, in-person discussions with them. So it's important to be geographically co-located with them. So that was the reason for choosing Canada for me.
Got it. Yeah. Now you got your MBA, right? You have all this experience in these amazing companies. You have a undergraduate degree from IIT. Now, how did you must have so many job offers. Why did you pick Interac, and what are some factors that affected this decision?
Yeah, personally, when I was doing my MBA at Schulich, at the same time I got internship at Interac, and that internship actually got converted into full-time job offer. So uh, I would say doing the right internship when you are in university is amazing thing, because that can lead you to the next role that you are looking for. And in the first place, I got that internship through networking with my classmates in Schulich. So one of my classmates was already doing internship at Interact. So he reached out to me saying that he could refer me also. So that's where networking is very important, be it alumni network or be it classmates. I mean, networking is essential, I would say. And for me, since it came through so easily, because I went for internship and got converted into full-time role. So and the I always got attracted with brands throughout my career. So I whenever I had multiple options in my hand, I chose the one which had more brand value. So that's where Interac stood out for me, and I chose to be at Interac.
Got it. Now, what I want to know more about your role at Interact, and what are some things that you do in your role, and things that you are looking forward to.
Yeah, at Interac, I'm a software developer, and Interac is very different from other financial institutions in Canada. So, other financial institutions like RBC, TD usually have a huge workforce. For example, in technology team itself, they have around 30,000 developers, whereas at Interac, the whole workforce is of hardly 700 people. So that means that the responsibility of each role is a lot compared to other organizations. So this helps you put your hands in almost everything in the whole delivery process in whole product life cycle. So though I'm a software developer, I end up doing a lot of things because of this reason. And my end to my role at Interac is to deliver a product end to end, because the team is so small that you end up owning a lot of things. Yeah.
Understood. Understood. Now, I would love to talk more about AI, but let's keep it specific. So this podcast is not 3 hours long. Uh, how do you use AI in your role? And as someone who has worked so much with software and is currently working in the financial tech market, where do you think it's going?
Um, yeah. So in my role as a software developer, and not just at Interac, at other companies also, the most common use of AI is in code completions through tools like GitHub Copilot and many others. So that's the most obvious use that we make of AI in AI. And second thing is there is a team at Interac which works on fraud prevention. So they have fraud prevention models for fraud detection models actually to see to find fraudulent payments and to prevent them actually. So that's the second thing. And third thing, which is upcoming at Interac, is that the whole payment ecosystem is going to change in future because the whole payment ecosystem was meant for humans to make payments. Now with AI agents coming into picture, they don't work same as humans. So the payment system for them have to be designed for them only. So that's the future of payment ecosystem, and that's where Interac is also moving into. But that's going to come in a few years time frame, not immediately. So these are the three things I would say. First is using AI for code generation and code suggestions. Second is the currently existing models which we are using related to fraud detection, and third is the future plans related to making payments suitable for AI agents.
Right. Yes, that's very valuable. And AI is advancing so fast, and I believe it's going to lead us to more convenient payments and more security, basically.
Yeah,
Now,
that's
yeah, we talked about the future of AI, but what does the future hold for you as an entrepreneur and someone who has ambitions and amazing achievements?
Yeah, so I was previously an entrepreneur and loved it a lot and want to be an entrepreneur in future as well. But in the meantime, I wanted to go back to the industry and learn about the consumer behavior in the new market of Canada, because I previously had my entrepreneurial venture in the market of India. So consumer behavior differs from country and culture. So it's important to know the culture and country to create a new product. So that's the reason I wanted to take a break from entrepreneurship for a while. And in the meantime, I'm preparing myself both technically uh, as well as in terms of business foundations as well to be a better entrepreneur next time. So that's my long-term goal to get back into business, and I'm paving my path to it through different short-term goals.
Right, right. Now, let's, this is the last technical question of the interview. So, uh, uh, I'll basically help you summarize everything that you said. What are five technologies that you would recommend to learn in 2025?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And in fact, I also think about it not just in 2025, rather every year, because software industry is so frequently changing that something that comes up in one year actually is obsolete by the next year. So it's very much important for every company as well as individual to stay relevant in the ever changing software industry. So there is a great example of that. I was listening to Satya Nadella from Microsoft about how Microsoft itself is changing itself. For example, since its foundation, Bill Gates and Satya Nadella had always thought of Microsoft as a software factory. Now with intelligence coming into picture, they are trying to stay relevant to the market, and they want to change it to something like intelligence factory and not just software factory. So that's the impact of ever changing software industry, that not just you, everyone in the industry has to stay relevant. So staying relevant is the most important thing. And one thing I learned from various peoples like Jensen Huang, even Satya Nadella, that in life, and even from my own experience, is that even though high abstraction things change, the first principles don't change. For example, the first principle of starting a business doesn't change even in the world of generative AI, because you still need to prove a value to your customers to create a business. So always focus on first principles, I would say, because high abstraction level, like languages, like technologies, can change every year, but the first principles won't change. So I would say focusing on first principle is the most important thing. And to stay relevant in current context, I would say having a foundational understanding of deep learning and LLM as well, and also the latest technologies in both of them will be highly helpful in whatever pursuit you have in the industry.
Understood. Could you talk about some certifications that you did?
Yeah, I personally don't believe in certifications because they actually expire within 2 years, mostly because technology changes so fast. So if you just end up doing certification after certification, you'll end up doing certification every time. So I'd rather go ahead and learn from the official guides of those certifications and develop my personal skills rather than having them as a certificate. So I have done that kind of thing, and yeah, but there is a advantage of certification as well that many people have took advantage of. For example, if you have AWS certification, then it's very easy to prove your skill in that during an interview rather than talking about it, because that's a very tangible thing that you have in your hand. But that depends on your goal. For example, my goal is not to crack an interview. My goal is to sell something to my customers. So that's not much relevant to my goal. So if your goal is to basically excel in an interview, have a great career in company, which is very good goal. So in that goal, definitely having certifications which are relevant in present day context are amazing and great to have. But if you're an entrepreneur, then I would say certification is not much value, because at the end, customers won't see your certificates; they will see your actual product.
Absolutely. Uh, I'm glad that you were able to put that into perspective depending on your goal, and it's important to provide that context. So I'm glad that you were able to put that into words for our audience to clearly understand what you meant. Now, let's wrap this episode up with one last question. What is the best piece of advice that you have heard or received?
Yeah, actually, there are many pieces of advice that I have received, and mostly through mentorship that I talked about. I mean, listening to leaders who have already done great in their life. So, I mean, if you listen to YouTube videos of any of the big leader, for example, Elon Musk, Jack Ma, Jeff Bezos, Jensen Huang, they tell a lot about their insights through their journey, which has been phenomenal. And one of the amazing thing that comes to my mind right away is I recently heard one interview of Satya Nadella in which he told that be bold and be right. So if you want to do something which is different from rest of the people, then you got to be bold, and you need to be right as well when you execute that, because if you can't execute what you started with, then that's of no use. It's a waste of time. So be bold and be right. And though everything else is very technical, one very fundamental thing that I learned from one of those interviews was from a convocation speech by Jeff Bezos at Princeton University. You can find that video on YouTube. So he talked in length about kindness. So he shaped such a great perspective of what kindness means that it changed my whole thought process of what it means to be kind to other people. And I realized that it not only helped me in my personal life, it helped me in my professional life as well, because I use those same things in my interpersonal relationship with other people, like customers, teammates, and I realized that it helped a lot. So I would highly recommend you to watch that video, and that will be amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure my viewers will find that out and they'll appreciate the insight. And thank you so much for doing this. And I cannot wait to see what the amazing things you'll accomplish with growing your business again and venturing into the Canadian economy. And please keep me posted. And I would love to have you back when you when you start your own business, and we could talk about that as well.
Thank you so much once for having me, and it was a pleasure. And I have best wishes for all your audience and for you too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.